Hi guys, Master Medicare and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video, I'm going to share with you how I study, especially how I take notes. So if you don't know, I am in my first year of medical school. My first year of medical school at the University of Plymouth, and every university is a bit different. This is going to be specific to how I study here in the Peninsula Medical School, but I'm sure that some of the tips I'm going to give you will be applicable to any course, anywhere, any university. So I'm going to share with you some of my top tips on how to manage the jump from maybe college or foundation year to first year, because trust me, there's a big jump, and I think it took me a while to manage. I did struggle in my first couple of weeks, but I have been able to find a study method that really works for me, and I'm very much happy to share with you guys, and hopefully it would help you as well. So let's talk a bit about the jump. The jump mainly isn't really about the content, it's more about the volume of content. So I'll give an example. In foundation year, I usually had let's say maximum 3-4 lectures a week. Okay, maybe a bit more, but in terms of my notes, I only had 3 lectures a week to make notes on top of obviously the other things that I do. But in terms of just lectures, there was just 3 or 4 lectures. Now I go through 3 or 4 lectures, go to 5 lectures in a day in my first year, in a day. So at the end of the week, I have about, let's say, almost 10 lectures that I need to make notes on, and that does not include my small groups like Jigsaw, my EBL, placement, clinical skills, there's so many things that I have to do on the course, and lecture is just literally just 20% of the things I have to do here, and it just takes up a lot of time. Even though when you're in class, really and truly you don't learn in class, well, I don't most of the time. I find that I'm able to absorb about 20 to 30% of whatever they're teaching in lectures. Sometimes it's a bit better, sometimes not. So I really and truly have to come back home or go back to the library and actually teach myself most of the stuff. And if I'm having 10 lectures to write notes on in a week, and each lecture is going to take me a minimum of 2 hours, where am I gonna get that kind of time to go through everything? It's overwhelming, but you can get through it. And I'm gonna show you how I make notes quickly, very quickly. Honestly, right now my notes taking doesn't even take me up to an hour to make notes now, and how to quickly absorb content as much as possible. People ask questions all the time, do you prefer Notion or do you prefer Anki? I use Notion. I've tried both. Here is another tip for you. When you start, try everything that you can, be it Notion, Anki, I don't know what else is there. Try it and then figure out what's best for you, because you're going to be doing this for a long time and you want to find out what works for you, because what you used to do back in college is probably not going to work at this time, just like I said, because of the type of learning the method of learning, and also the volume of content that you're gonna have. But anyways, I don't want to talk too much. I'm gonna get into it. I'm actually gonna show you how I make notes in one of my actual lectures. So I'm gonna use my lecture slides, and then I'm going to show you how I make notes and how I formulate my questions. And by the end of when exam time comes around, I have all the notes gathered up in one place. Instead of going back to the PowerPoints or to the videos, I have everything in one place and I can just go through them as much as possible. I find that even when I make notes, I still have to go through the lectures, the notes 2-3 times before I can actually accumulate everything in my head, because it's a lot. It's a lot. So I don't learn once, I have to go over it over and over again. But having everything neatly in one place just really helps me study. So I'm gonna set you guys up here, and I have my laptop now, and I'm gonna screen record everything I'm doing here so you can see it right over there. So if anyone doesn't know how to screen record, it's Shift Command 5. Also, I'm gonna be using a MacBook. I wish I knew what the translation was for Android or any other types of laptops, but this is specifically for MacBook. So welcome to my Notion. First of all, by this side, this is where you have your folders, and this is mainly where all my notes are for my lectures. This is all the case units that we have done in university so far in year 1. I also have specific folders for other things that I do, so like EBP, clinical skills, ILSA. This is where I put like my results for the ILSAs that I do, so I know I track myself on how I'm doing well. So for example, in macromolecules I was quite moderate, I didn't like do as well. Other parts where I'm weak, so I know where I'm going to like focus on when I'm studying. But this was like a long time ago. And also I can make timetables. The timetable here, this is the timetable that I made. So Notion is really great for like making timetables and just organizing yourself, which is why I like it. You don't really get that kind of thing with Anki. So for example, like this case, although I did go through it, but once you finish it, you can just click it off, and it's just satisfactory, So like I said, this is all the case units that we have, and in each case unit we have like obviously different, like we have loads of lectures. So this is all the lectures that we had in that one case unit, and each case unit is 2 weeks. So you can imagine like we go through all of these lectures in 2 weeks, and obviously they are like each an hour long, sometimes 40 minutes to an hour long. So now if we go through this secretary system, you open it, I have made questions, I have made like, so for example, what is anastomosis and what is its function? I would just like obviously say that to myself, and then I'll check the answer, because this is a talk where I'm going to show you guys how I made all of this, but I'm just giving you a tour of my Notion so far. So it's really easy for me to see all the questions that I have and know how many I need to go through. Like this one now, it's a picture, because medicine for me is very image based, and I need to have images when I'm studying. So I just look at this and I'm just like to myself, label this. And then all the parts that I've already covered, I label them, and the answer is right there. Once I open the toggle, it's right there. Is it not beautiful? But yeah, this is why I really like Notion so much. You can also do this in Anki. Anki is actually quite good with pictures, because you can have different, like you can make like 8 questions from just one picture. Well, let's not talk about Anki, we're just focusing on Notion, okay? So right now I am in conception and pregnancy. It's this isn't the best case unit to show you MRI study, because a lot of the lecture slides are very much anatomy of the female and male reproductive system, and I just did a note earlier, and it literally had genitals, and I was just like, I can't really post this on YouTube now, can I? But I'm gonna find a lecture that is a bit PG, not too much, and again I'll show you guys how I make my questions from each lecture and how I make my notes. So this lecture is actually one that I went through this week, and I will show you how I would make notes on it. So first of all, what I like to do is split screen. I'm sorry, I'm so obsessed with split screen. I can't get enough of split screens. So I'll click on my conception and pregnancy case unit. See the cute little emoji? I can make emojis now. Honestly, Notion is so cute. Like even this one, I can add an icon. I usually add the brain icon for the LSRC, and look how cute it is. So now this is living anatomy of the pelvis. So I will show you guys what I do. So let's go to the beginning of the slide. So that's the beginning of the slides. I make this empty. Right. Okay. So now if I just go through the slides. This is really important. Now let's look at this image. So I have an x-ray of 2 pelvis, and it's telling me to label it. So what I do is I usually click on this part, and then I turn it into, so you can turn things into bullet points, into headings, but I turn it to toggle list, and then I write out. So I'll just say label this. It's as simple as that. Like, we're not doing too much. First thing I do is I would crop this. So for me to crop it, I'll do Shift Command 4, and that way I can crop out specific points instead of just screenshotting a picture. So, and then I take it from here, I drag it, and I just drop it, right? And then if I go to the next slide, the answer is already there. I do Shift Command 4 again. I screenshot it, the answer is there, and then I just add it, I drop it into the toggle. Takes a while, and then that's it. I have my first question. That was so easy. Like, I didn't need to write in like doing up 10 things. I already have my first question. The slide is done. And obviously, while I'm going through it, sometimes I'm actively learning and sometimes I'm passively learning. So I can literally just go through it and look at it. Yeah, okay, cool. Quiz myself while I'm studying. And that way I've gone through it once. And then when I want to study from again, I'll study like later on in the week just to like consolidate my learning. But yeah, that's literally the first one done. Okay, we go on to the next point. The next part is talking about so muscles and their attachment sites. And this is another perfect example that I can give you. So first, again, you can either click slash. So I click slash and then this appears and I go back to toggle list and I say complete the table. So because this is telling me the different muscles and then it's showing me the attachment site. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, first of all, which is very important, I'm going to take the answer, screenshots the answer, pull this toggle down and then drag and drop this, make sure it's inside. Drag and drop that. I already have the answer. Close that and then I'm going to go to insert shapes. I'm going to take, I usually take this shape and then I'm going to cover all of this. And then that's it. Question 2 done. Like before, I'd usually go through like making my own. I don't have the time. Literally, I don't have the time. I just want to make my notes quickly. I want to study as quickly as possible. Obviously, I'll quiz myself as I'm doing it as well, go through it. And then I'm on to the next question. It's literally like quick. So it says the placenta produces a hormone called relaxin that results in the ligaments becoming slightly more stretchy. So that's an important point for me to remember because that has a lot of clinical significance. So if I want to make a question from literally just that line, what I'll do is produced stretchy. So right then, I'm gonna put the answer as relaxing. So that is just a quick way to like make questions, just to remember points. And also I'll go through it. So I'll go through every single slide and make sure that I can make questions from each slide and all the important points that I feel like I need to remember. Sometimes I feel like the things I just remember and I don't really need remembering, but most of the time I just go through the slides and then I find ways to like turn like points or statements into questions for myself. I'll give another example.
So another example, if we look at the slide, there are terminologies that I need to know. So for example, let's look at this, define the perineum. They've given me a definition of perineum, but I'm going to divide this slide, this particular place, into 2 questions. The perineum. And then I basically write out this definition. What I could do is if I want to save time, I could just crop the answer like this, right? And then just put it there. That way I'm not writing anything, but I'm not going to do that for this one because I want to make it into 2 questions. So I will just remove that and I'll basically write out what it says. So it also tells me that it's divided into 2 parts, so the urogenital and the anal triangle. So what I can do is I can make a question in a question. So I've defined the perineum and then I can actually make another question in there. So it's divided into anal triangle. Just looking at this slide, we're talking about the testes, and there are so many words highlighted in here that I need to remember, not only just the images, but so for example, I need to know that not only does the testis produce sperm, but also produces testosterone. I also need to remember that the sperm is actually produced in the seminiferous tubules. And I also need to know that the sperm actually does not mature in the testis, it matures in the epididymis. And also that is transported through the vas deferens. So all of this I can turn into questions. I can make it a sub question and say, where in the testes are sperms sperm mate. Is that English? Anyways, it's yacht notes. Who cares if your English is not right? Okay, I put F, sorry. And then I would say I can even ask, where does sperm maturation occur? So all of this is still the same question. So I can say in the epididymis. So how you can say, how is sperm transported? Difference. And I've made 4 questions out of just that one slide, but it's all in one question. Like, it's all in one. I also have lectures that I've not really turned into questions, so I've just like had an actual, just a breakdown of the renal system, and there are no questions, no toggles. I think for this particular topic, it just felt like I just needed to have everything all cleared out. So yeah, there are different ways you can do it. You can make bullet points. It's very versatile. I just find that turning my slides into questions just like gets me into that critical thinking mode, and it's just easier for me to think about how the exam will be. So all I can do is just say, what are the 4 sections of the male urethra, and then basically just, instead of having to type everything, just screenshot it and post it, because the typing that really takes a lot of time. But once I just screenshot it, that's it. And then I also have the image there, so I'll be able to label it for myself. Instead of just like writing it, I have it labeled as well, and I just do the same thing. Just saves so much time. Another thing I like to do is, if I have a slide that like this, I can make it fun for myself. So this slide is talking about the composition of semen, and what I can do is, so I would just, again, I'll just say complete this table, just keep it nice and simple. And then what I'm going to do is, I am going to cover out some parts. So let's get a fresh new one. So for example, I can cover this part, right? I'll cover this part, and let me copy all of this and paste them. So what I'm going to do is, I'll cover this part and I'll cover this part and leave that one. And that way it's like a quiz for myself. I can cover this part and I can cover this part, and then use the function to derive what it is. Or I can, let's see, I will cover this part. No, I'll leave that part and then have this part and this part covered, so that way I can remember it. And then do the same thing for this one. So I will have that part and then cover that part and that part, and it's like a puzzle. And now I just need to fill in the blanks, and it's just like a fun way to like teach yourself. Also, another good thing about Notion is, this video is not sponsored by them, it's just really good. If, for example, I'm going through like a topic and I found a video that actually really helped me understand it, and I want to have that video for later on, copy the link and then put it in my Notion so I can embed it as a video. And then when I'm studying it again and I want to watch the video, then I can just click it and actually watch it through my Notion. So instead of having to find the videos that I've used all the time, it's just always there for me to like study. Another top tip of mine is to have a whiteboard. Trust me, this is an essential for you to have as a student, just in general. So not only can I use it to put down the things that I need to do as a reminder, but I use it for active recall. So while I'm studying on my desk, typing it sometimes is not enough. Sometimes I just need to write things out multiple times, and this helps so much. It's quite portable. You can also get the standard ones from Amazon. This was from Wilco and it's quite cheap. And it serves as a good decoration for me. Like, look, I can have it surrounded on my pictures, but it's really good. It's really easy to use. And like, look, I have so many things that I had to do today. I wrote them out and I'm right on my last one, which is finishing up my YouTube. But yeah, a whiteboard is essential. Sometimes when I'm going through my lectures, I don't understand the words that these people are. Like, I don't get it, even because some of the slides just have pictures, they don't actually have
text or context or anything. And like I said, in lectures I don't get as much, not all the time. So what I do is, either if there's a recording of the lecture, I'll usually have the recording of the lecture on one side and my notes on one side, and literally just be going through the slides as the teacher or the professor is teaching, and be making my notes that way. Or I look for the topic, I go on YouTube, Ninja Nerd is always the way forward. I go on YouTube and I find someone who can help me understand it. Or if worst comes to worst, I go to the library and find books. The books are always the last resort, because everything, to be fair, I can even get a book online. Most of it is online. So people who still write notes, I don't know how to help you, because when I came to uni, I had books, guys. Like I have books here. I've not touched them because we're not in, what's it called? We've evolved. People don't use books. People don't. I had to learn it the hard way. So everything is done online, and because my lectures are online, my notes are online, the slides are online. It's just easier to have everything in one place. I really hope that was helpful. If it was, please like, comment, give a thumbs up, like, share with someone who might really need this. But yeah, thank you so much guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in my next video.